Hey everybody, how we doing? Chris Matan here, Real Estate Machine Show, Modern Success Formula. And I'm going to talk about when I was in school. So when I was a schoolboy, I was not a reader. I didn't like reading. I didn't really like homework. I was I was a C student. I kind of got by. You know, I was one of those guys that was able to get by without doing a whole lot. I didn't really I didn't have a school bag. I didn't really bring books home ever. I kind of did things as I needed to. And, maybe I was lucky, maybe whatever it was, but, I was never much of a reader. I never sat down and read a book. And during that time, obviously the books that you read are the books that you're told to read. And I think that might have had a lot to do with it. You put a book in front of me that I have absolutely no interest in. I'm not going to, I'm just not going to spend the time to do it. And I'll figure out a way to get around the book report or whatever I had to do after I read the book, after I was supposed to read the book. However, today, it's a totally different story. I read every single day and I actually enjoy it. It's one of the best parts of my day. Early in the morning, I read, 10 pages of a book. And it's really, it's fascinating to me that, listen, the books that I read are books that I'm interested in. It's primarily nonfiction. It's books about YouTubing, or it's books about business or manufacturing or real estate or sales or, personal development, something along those lines. I mean, that's kind of my wheelhouse when it comes to what I'm reading. I just want something that's gonna impact me in value and add that and give me some value that that maybe whatever I learn in these books I can then impart to somebody else too, which is kind of an interesting part of it all. But what I'm consuming is things that I think and hope will move the needle in my life. And those 10 minutes or those 10 pages I read a day in the morning, it really sets off my day on a good note. And I'm learning something, and I'm absorbing it as I'm reading it. And then that's kind of like that's like the first thing that's going on in my brain during, of that day. And those are the things that I'm thinking about. And it's really funny that I'll read something, and then something happens during that day that actually applies to what I read. And so it's really practical stuff, but it comes down to being interested in what you're reading. I'm not going to read something about Japanese history, for example, because Japanese history in my life and in my space right now, doesn't mean anything to me. It's nothing against Japanese history, but it's just not interesting to me. But I am a history buff. So, from time to time, I'll read like a little history book or an autobiography or a biography about somebody in history. And, those are interesting things. And I love documentaries too. This kind of all ties in together. And it's basically learning about people and things that have come before you, which you are able to then model the success that they've had. And that's what it comes down to, and that's what I want to do, is I want to model who have come before me so that I don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. And that's what reading does. You just learn and you consume. And what you learn, maybe you got to take a little action on some of that stuff too, or you just absorb it and just kind of make it part of you, a part of who you are, whatever seems to apply. So reading is has become a really major part of my life. My daily routine includes reading. For a while there, I was doing 10 minutes or 10 pages in the morning early before I leave. And then at the end of the day, before I would go to bed, I would wind down and then I'd read another 10 pages or maybe 10 minutes, which I kind of got away from. And now that I'm saying it, kind of verbalizing it out loud, I think I'm going to go back to that, because that's a big deal. What you put in your brain before you lay down to go to sleep is also what you're going to be thinking about overnight. And that's an important thing too. So put down the iPads and the iPhones and the murder mysteries and all that stuff at, right before you go to sleep, and put something good in your brain. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and we'll catch up with you next week. Have a great day.